Tonight, we're diving deep into every forgotten secret of the Sinnoh region. For those of you who've been joining us consistently, I want to thank you for being such an integral part of our channel. If you're falling asleep with us tonight, let me know in the comments how many nights in a row you've been here. And if this is your first night, just comment day 1. Now let's get back to the video. Close your eyes and let the weight of the world drift away as we journey back to the very beginning of everything. Long before the first Pokeball was crafted from a forest apricorn, long before the first trainer stepped onto a grassy route, and even before the concept of time and space had a name, there was only a void, a swirling, silent chaos of nothingness. And then, from the center of that infinite dark, an egg appeared. This is where our story begins, not just the story of a region, but the story of existence itself. We are traveling to the crown of the world, a land of harsh snows, deep lakes and mountain peaks that pierce the heavens. We are going to Sinnoh, but to truly understand Sinnoh, we must first remember it as Hisui, a wild and untamed frontier where the line between myth and reality was as thin as the mountain air. For many of us, Sinnoh was the first place we truly felt the scale of the Pokémon universe. It was the place where the stakes shifted from stopping a criminal syndicate to preventing the literal collapse of the cosmos. But beneath the surface of the games we played as children lies a sprawling, intricate tapestry of lore that most people have completely forgotten. There are secrets buried under the snow of Mount Coronet that explain the very nature of the soul. There are whispers in the library of Canalave City that hint at a terrifying relationship between humans and Pokémon that has been scrubbed from modern history books. Why was the region renamed? What happened to the ancient clans who worshipped different versions of the same god? And who was the traveller from another time who fell from the sky to save a world that would eventually forget them? This is not just a retelling of a journey to become a champion. This is a deep immersion into the spiritual heart of the Pokémon world. We're going to explore the tragedy of the original one, the banishment of the shadow that dwells in the distortion world, and the silent vigil of the lake guardians who watch over our emotions, our knowledge, and our will. We will trace the footsteps of the Celestica people and uncover the truth behind the red chain. As the world outside grows quiet and the stars begin to wheel overhead, let the sounds of the Sinnoh wind carry you back through the centuries. We are going back to the era of the space-time rift, back to the founding of the Galaxy team, and further still, to the moment the first heartbeat of time began to tick. The history of Sinnoh is a history of belief, of conflict, and of the enduring bond between all living things. It is a story of how a land of gods became a land of people, and what was lost in that transition. From the volcanic heat of the battle zone to the frozen silence of Snow Point Temple, every corner of this map holds a piece of a puzzle that spans 10,000 years. We will look at the real-world inspirations that shape these digital landscapes, finding the echoes of ancient Japanese legends and the rugged beauty of Hokkaido in every route and town. We will ask why Cyrus truly feared the human heart, and why Cynthia is the only one who seems to remember the warnings of the past. So settle in, let the ambient glow of the campfire or the soft hum of the universe settle your mind. We are leaving the modern world behind to walk the ancient paths. We are going to uncover every forgotten secret, every whispered myth, and every hidden truth of the Sinnoh region. The journey is long, the mysteries are deep, and the spirits of the old world are waiting to be heard once more. This is the ultimate history of the land of the gods. This is the lore of Sinnoh. In the endless nothing before time, there existed only a churning vortex of primordial chaos, a roiling sea of unformed potential where no light pierced the absolute dark. You can almost feel it now, that suffocating weight of non-existence pressing in from all sides. No up or down, no beginning or end, just an infinite whirlpool devouring itself eternally. From the heart of this void, something impossible stirred. An egg. not born of any mother or maker, but coalescing from the raw frenzy itself, its shell a fragile barrier etched with faint glowing veins of possibility. This was no ordinary birth. It was the universe's defiant gasp against oblivion. The egg trembled, cracked spiderwebbing across its surface as the chaos clawed to reclaim it, but deep within, a presence awakened, vast and unyielding. And then, the first sound shattered the silence. A single, resonant hum, low and primordial, vibrating through the void like the tolling of a cosmic bell. That sound wasn't mere noise, it was the birth of existence itself. In its echo, concepts took shape. Being, separation, the spark of I am. The hum lingered, weaving threads of reality from the nothingness, defining edges where before there were none. Listen closely, in your mind, and you might hear its faint afterglow even now, the universe's original heartbeat pulsing through every star and stone. The shell burst open at last, and from it emerged the original one, Arceus, the almighty Sinnoh. Towering, radiant, its form a blaze of white and gold against the devouring dark, Arceus unfurled not 2 arms, or 4, but 1,000, each one a conduit of infinite creation, shimmering with plates of every hue, ready to sculpt order from madness. Those arms stretched into the vortex, grasping swirling eddies of chaos and moulding them like clay under a divine sculptor's touch. With effortless grace, the first arm pierced the turmoil, forging the bedrock of the world. Mountains rose in jagged defiance, their peaks clawing toward a sky that didn't yet exist. Mount Coronet took form first, its colossal spire a spear thrust into the heavens, anchoring the newborn realm against the void's pull. Feel the rumble of that emergence, the ground solidifying beneath imaginary feet, steam hissing from fresh fissures as lava cooled into eternal stone. Other arms wove the expanse of Hisui, ancient Sinnoh, painting continents with broad strokes of earth and sea. Forests sprouted in verdant waves, rivers carved serpentine paths, and winds whispered secrets across budding plains. Each motion of those 1,000 limbs was deliberate, a symphony of architecture where chaos bent to harmony. Arceus didn't merely create, it designed, balancing every element so precisely that the cosmos hummed in resonance with that original sound. Yet even in this grand design, shadows lingered. From the depths of the vortex, antimatter stirred, a rebellious echo of the first hum, hinting at fractures yet to come. Arceus's arms paused, plates gleaming as they prepared to birth guardians, entities to steward time, space, and the hidden realms beyond. The original one gazed upon its nascent universe, the egg's remnants dissolving into stardust, and in that moment, existence affirmed itself. Fragile but fierce, those 1,000 arms didn't stop at landscapes, they etched the very laws of reality. One plate of adamant crystal materialized, here pulsing with temporal rhythm, destined for the dragon of time. Another forged the lustrous globe, shimmering with spatial infinity, while a third coalesced the griseous core, dark and volatile, for the outlaw of antimatter. Each artifact hummed in harmony with the primordial sound, binding the cosmos in unbreakable threads. You sense the scale of it, don't you? A single being, born from an egg in the void, wielding creation like a breath. The vortex receded, tamed but not erased, its remnants whispering in the winds that now swept Hisui's peaks. Arceus hovered above Mount Coronet, its form both serene and overwhelming, the 1,000 arms folding inward as the first dawn fractured the horizon. A light born not from fire, but from the original one's own essence. This emergence set everything in motion, the egg's fracture echoing through eons. Lakes would soon cradle new spirits, heroes would gather plates in forgotten temples, and clans would rise to worship echoes of this truth. But the true marvel lies in what those arms summoned next, the trio that would enforce the design. As the chaos fully yielded, Arceus descended, its presence a warm pressure on the cooling earth, infusing life into every crevice. Pokémon stirred in the shadows of new forests, their forms echoes of the 1,000 plates, fire, water, ground, every type of fragment of the whole. The original one's gaze swept the realm, satisfied yet vigilant, for the first sound had birthed not just existence, but the potential for discord. In the hush following creation, Mount Coronet's pinnacle gleamed under starlight it had helped ignite, a pillar of testimony to the Void's conquest. The egg was gone, but its legacy pulsed in the air, a reminder that from nothing, everything springs. And as Arceus prepared to withdraw, veiling itself in myth, the foundations for reality's keepers solidified. Those architects, forged in the wake of the vortex, would soon take their places, shaping time's relentless march, space's boundless stretch, and the twisted mirror beyond. In Chapter 2, The Architects of Reality, we'll uncover how Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina rose to claim their domains, and the shadows they cast over Sinnoh's dawn. Stay with me as we descend into their eternal vigil. From that first resonant hum, the original one stirred with purpose, shaping the raw essence of being into something enduring. Arceus, the almighty force now fully awakened, turned its gaze upon the swirling void and decreed the foundations of all that would follow. With a will that echoed through the emptiness, it birthed the twin architects of reality itself, Dialga, the sovereign of time, and Palkia, the ruler of space. Picture the moment Dialga came into existence, not as a mere creature, but as the very heartbeat of chronology. Forged from the diamond-hard certainty of moments, stacking upon moments, Dialga emerged cloaked in metallic sheen, its body a colossal engine of ticking gears and relentless progression. Every pulse from its chest sent ripples across the nascent cosmos, defining the flow from past to future, ensuring that existence wouldn't dissolve back into chaos but march forward in unbreakable sequence. Arceus instilled in Dialga the primal roar that commands the seconds, the minutes, the eons, a sound like grinding steel plates shifting under infinite pressure, binding the universe to the tyranny of time's arrow. Yet time alone could not hold form without dimension. In perfect counterpoint, Palkia materialized, its form a majestic lattice of pink-hued crystals and boundless expanse. Palkia, the spatial sovereign, stretched the void into vastness, folding distances and erecting the invisible scaffolds upon which reality would perch. Its breath warped the emptiness, creating the first pockets of proximity and separation, the near and the far, the contained and the infinite. Where Dialga imposed sequence, Palkia enforced structure, preventing the universe from collapsing into a single, suffocating point or exploding into irretrievable dispersal. Together, these pillars stood as sentinels, their powers intertwined like the warp and weft of an eternal tapestry. But such immense forces required anchors, lest they unravel their own creations. Arceus, ever the master craftsman, drew from the core of its being to forge two artifacts of unparalleled potency. First came the adamant crystal, a gleaming prism of unyielding blue birthed from the crystallized will of temporal dominion. This orb, pulsing with the cold fire of inevitability, was bestowed upon Dialga, embedding itself in the dragon's armored chest. It stabilized the ceaseless march of time, channeling Dialga's raw might into a steady rhythm that prevented paradoxes from fraying the fabric of what was becoming. Feel the weight of it, the crystal's facets catching non-existent light, humming with the promise of tomorrows yet unborn. No less vital was the lustrous globe, a radiant sphere of iridescent pearl, it sculpted from the essence of spatial infinity. Placed within Palkia, it glowed with the soft allure of endless horizons, tethering the dragon's expansive power to prevent the cosmos from stretching into oblivion. This globe, smooth as polished sea glass, yet vast as the void it tamed, ensured that space held shape, that distances meant something, that places could exist without bleeding into one another. With these relics in place, Dialga and Palkia achieved harmony, their combined dominion weaving a stable lattice where time flowed through space without distortion. In those primordial instants, the universe hung in pristine equilibrium, a vast, shimmering expanse devoid of stars, worlds, or life. No matter cluttered the framework, it was pure potential, a silent symphony of ticking clocks within elastic voids. Dialga's steady cadence marked the unfolding of duration, while Palkia's gentle curvature defined the arenas in which it played out. Mountains had not yet risen, oceans not yet pooled, and the air itself was but a whisper of possibility. This era of initial stability was flawless, a canvas stretched taut and ready, where every quantum twitch obeyed the pillar's unerring laws. Travellers through Sinnoh's myths speak of it in hushed tones from the pages of Canalave library, the time before creation's clamour, when reality simply, was. Arceus surveyed this balanced realm, satisfied yet sensing the need for further elaboration. The twin dragons patrolled their domains, with vigilant grace, Dialga's roars etching timelines into the ether, Palkia's gestures sculpting dimensional folds that hinted at future continents. Mount Coronet, it was the first landmark, began to take shadowy form at the heart of what would become Hisui, a spear piercing the veil, as if to pin the pillar's power in place. The air thrummed with latent energy, heavy with the scent of ozone from clashing forces held just in check. Whispers in the old verses suggest that even then, faint tremors stirred in the shadows, subtle imbalances where time lagged or space buckled ever so slightly. Dialga and Palkia, anchored by their crystals, maintained the peace, but the void's undercurrents hinted at a counterforce lurking beyond their gaze. What force could challenge these architects, twisting their perfect order into something fractured and otherworldly? That banished shadow waits in the wings, its distortion poised to shatter the fragile dawn of stability. And so we drift toward Chapter 3, the banished shadow, where the first cracks in creation's facade begin to spiderweb across the pillar's domain. With Dialga commanding the relentless march of time and Palkia stretching the fabric of space into endless possibility, both bound by the shimmering adamant crystal and lustrous globe, Arceus beheld a universe teetering on the edge of perfect balance. Yet harmony demands opposition, a counterforce to prevent stagnation in the glow of creation. From the same chaotic egg that birthed its siblings, Arceus forged the third pillar, not of measured flow or boundless expanse, but of antimatter itself. Giratina emerged, a colossal spectre cloaked in reverse existence, its form a twisted mirror where every particle repelled its counterpart, threatening to unravel the fragile order just established. Picture the raw fury of antimatter in motion. In our own world, scientists collide particles in vast accelerators, glimpsing how matter and antimatter annihilate each other in bursts of pure energy, leaving nothing but gamma rays in their wake. Giratina embodied this primal clash on a cosmic scale. Its serpentine body, armoured in ghostly plates that shifted like fractured shadows, pulsed with the essence of negation. Where Dialga etched moments into eternity and Palkia wove distances into reality, Giratina sought to erase them, coiling through voids where existence frayed at the seams. Legends whisper that its birth roar echoed as a discordant hum, warping the newborn lands of Hisui, cracking the spear-like peaks of what would become Mount Coronet. Arceus, the original one, watched as this renegade force rampaged, idiot's hunger for obliteration, clashing violently against the structured cosmos. The Griseous core, that enigmatic orb of mottled grey, was crafted as Giratina's anchor, much like its siblings' jewels. But where the adamant crystal pulsed with temporal fire and the lustrous globe gleamed with spatial pearls, The griseous core thrummed with shadowed restraint, a tether forged from the boundary between light and void. It bound Giratina's antimatter heart, pulling it back from total destruction, yet it could not tame the beast's wrath. This core became the fragile bridge, a conduit linking the vibrant world above to the abyss below, allowing faint echoes of Giratina's rage to seep through rifts even in exile. Held aloft in ancient rituals, it could summon the Banished One's silhouette, a reminder that shadows persist waiting. Such ferocity could not dwell among the architects of reality. Giratina's assaults grew bolder, its antimatter breath dissolving fledgling stars and twisting rivers into impossible loops. Dialga's timeline stuttered under the assault. Palkia's dimensions buckled like paper in flame. Arceus, in divine sorrow, decreed exile. Not mere banishment to some distant void, but the forging of a prison tailored to contain antimatter's chaos, the distortion world. This realm materialized as a fractured mirror of Hisui, a labyrinth of inverted gravity where platforms floated in defiance of down, colors inverted to sickly hues, and time looped in eternal stutter. Here, physics rebelled. Walls became floors, left twisted into right, and every step echoed back upon itself. Why such an elaborate cage? Because Giratina was no mere monster, in but a necessary shadow. Antimatter ensures matter's evolution. Without opposition, creation ossifies. The distortion world served as both punishment and safeguard, a parallel plane sealed by Arceus's will, accessible only through tears in Spearpillar's heights or the griseous core's pull. Legends from the Celestica people, etched in old verses at Celestic Town's ruins, describe the banishment as a thunderous severance. Giratina thrashed against its chains, its golden eyes blazing defiance, until the rift sealed with a sound like shattering glass. Yet whispers persist of its lingering influence, space-time distortions over Mount Coronet, ghostly apparitions haunting Turnback Cave's endless maze. Even in isolation, Giratina's presence rippled outward. Volo, that enigmatic descendant of Sinnoh's ancients, sought the griseous core to ally with the renegade, tearing open a rift that pitted Dialga and Palkia against each other in futile rage. Cyrus of Team Galactic later peered into this shadow, his heart a void mirroring Giratina's, only to be ensnared in the distortion world's clutches during the Spearpillar crisis. You remember the chill of that otherworldly traverse, platforms crumbling into nothingness, the air thick with reversed winds carrying echoes of Cyrus's fractured dreams. Giratina, guardian of antimatter's fury, remains the banished shadow, its griseous core a warning that light casts darkness inevitably. But as this shadowed exile took hold, new spirits awakened in the tranquil depths of Sinnoh's sacred lakes, guardians born to temper such cosmic tempests with subtler forces. Their emergence promises revelations that bind knowledge, emotion, and will to the fate of creation itself. Stay with me as we uncover Chapter 4, The Spirit of the Lakes. With Giratina sealed away in its twisted prison of antimatter, the newborn world still trembled on the edge of oblivion, time and space weaving fragile threads across the void. But creation demanded more than mere structure. It craved the spark of life within, the unseen forces that would temper the raw fury of gods. Deep in the heart of Hisui, where mist-shrouded waters mirrored the endless sky, 3 ancient lakes slumbered like forgotten eyes of the earth. Lake Verity to the south, its surface a glassy veil over secrets older than stone. Lake Valor in the east, fierce and churning with hidden fire. Lake Acuity to the north, crystalline and cold, its whispering of purity untainted. From these abyssal cradles, the lake guardians stirred into being, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, not born of Arceus's direct whim, but forged in a ritual as primal as the heartbeat of the world itself. Uxie emerged first from the still depths of Lake Acuity, its yellow form flickering like a half-remembered dream. Knowledge was its essence, the quiet archive of all that had been and could be. You can almost feel the weight of it, that boundless library etched into its core, pulling truths from the silence where lesser minds falter. Mesprit followed from Lake Verity, a whirlwind of pink light dancing across the waves, embodying emotion in its purest, most untamed rush. Joy that lifts the spirit, sorrow that carves rivers through stone, love and rage intertwined like vines claiming a ruined temple. Then Azelf burst forth from Lake Valor, azure and unyielding, the raw force of willpower that bends mountains and shatters chains, urging every living thing to rise against the tide. These three weren't mere spectators in the grand design. They undertook a ritual born of necessity, a descent into the suffocating depths that tested the very fabric of existence. Picture the lakes not as serene ponds, but as portals to the underworld, waters blacker than night, pressing in with the crush of forgotten eras, air stolen away, lungs burning for a breath that never comes. Uxie plunged into Acuity's frozen heart, enduring the icy vice that drowned thought itself, emerging with eyes that pierced illusion, granting humanity the gift of wisdom to navigate time's relentless march. Mesprit dove into Verity's murky embrace, where emotions swirled like tempests in the dark, suffocating under waves of despair and ecstasy until it surfaced, bestowing the full spectrum of feeling to soften the edges of a harsh world. Azelf braved Valor's boiling fury, the scalding pressure threatening to dissolve resolve, only to rise unbreakable, infusing every soul with the will to defy Dialga's ticking doom and Palkia's expanding void. This trial wasn't for their glory alone. It was to bring balance to the human soul, those fragile wanderers who would one day tread Hisui's paths. Without knowledge, emotion lay barren. Without emotion, willpower crumbled to dust. Without willpower, knowledge faded into irrelevance. Together, they wove these threads into the essence of sentience, ensuring that mortals could stand amid the gods' colossal works, not as pawns, but as stewards. Feel the chill of that submerged ritual echoing in your own depths, the way it mirrors our struggles, diving into personal voids to emerge transformed. Yet their power ran deeper still, a secret etched in crimson fire. The red chain, that enigmatic tether forged from their combined might, became the ultimate key to the divine. Legends whisper of it as a relic of impossible craft, its links pulsing with the trio's essence: knowledge to bind intent, emotion to fuel the summon, willpower to enforce command. Only they, the spirits of the lakes, could weave this chain strong enough to leash Dialga and Palkia themselves, halting their primordial clash before it unraveled the cosmos. In the hands of the unworthy, it twisted into peril, a tool for those who dreamed of reshaping reality. Cyrus of Team Galactic would later grasp at its shadow, chaining time and space at Spear Pillar in a bid for a sterile new world, blind to the suffocating irony of his ambition. The lakes themselves guard these truths even now, their shores dotted with shrines where the air hums with latent energy. Wanderers in modern Sinnoh speak of fleeting glimpses, the flicker of Uxie vanishing into Acuity's fog, Mesprit's laughter rippling across Verity at dusk, Azelf's defiant gaze from Valor's cliffs. They remind us that balance isn't given, it's claimed through descent and rebirth, a lesson the clans of Hisui would soon learn amid their warring faiths. As the Guardians ascended to watch over the fragile harmony, human footsteps began to echo across the land they had steadied. In the next chapter, The Era of Hisui, you'll uncover how the Celestica people rose from these mythic foundations, all forging bonds with noble Pokémon, while shadows of forgotten heroes stirred at Spear Pillar. What cataclysmic trials awaited them under the fading light of almighty Sinnoh? With the Lake Guardians ascending from those suffocating depths, their gifts of knowledge, emotion, and willpower didn't just stir the human soul, they ignited the spark of survival across a raw, unforgiving expanse that would one day bear the name Sinnoh. This was Hisui, a land forged in the shadow of Mount Coronet, where jagged peaks clawed at storm-lashed skies and rivers carved furious paths through mist-shrouded valleys. Arceus, the original one, had shaped it with 1,000 arms after raising the mountain itself from chaos, breathing life into soils rich with ancient minerals and forests teeming with shadows that whispered secrets of the wild. Its towering evergreens bowed under relentless gales from the north, their needles slicing the air like frozen blades, while geothermal springs bubbled with otherworldly heat amid fields of brittle grass that cracked underfoot in the biting cold. Lakes gleamed like shattered obsidian under perpetual twilight, their waters holding echoes of the trio who had plunged into similar voids. Hisui wasn't a gentle cradle, it was a forge, testing every creature that dared claim it. In this crucible, the noble Pokémon rose as the chosen guardians, towering sentinels hand-picked by the almighty Sinnoh to ward the land's fractured wards. Cleavor, the warden of the canyon, wielded scythes that cleaved boulders as if they were silk, its rocky exoskeleton pulsing with the earth's unyielding fury. Avalugg commanded the glacial heights, in its massive form a living fortress of ice that shattered avalanches with a single rumble. Lilligant danced through poisoned mires, her petals unfurling toxins that felled intruders in blooms of sickly sweet perfume. These weren't mere beasts. They were embodiments of Hisui's raw dominion, infused with fragments of divine power, plates of blazing life force that kept their primal rage in check. Without them, frenzy claimed them, turning protectors into tempests of destruction. Humans learned this the hard way, approaching with offerings of balms and berries, forging bonds through rituals whispered in the old verses, riding their backs across terrains no foot could tread. The environment of Hisui demanded such alliances, dictating every facet of early human existence with merciless precision. Winters buried clans under snowdrifts 20 feet deep, forcing migrations along wind-scoured plateaus where blizzards howled like spectral packs. Summers brought swarms of venomous insects from fetid bogs, their stings festering wounds that festered without the antidotes gleaned from noble Lilligant's grace. Earthquakes from Mount Coronet's restless heart split the ground, unleashing floods that swallowed villages whole, while alpha Pokémon, hulking titans swollen with wild energy, roamed unchecked, claiming territories in roars that echoed for miles. Survival hinged on reading the land's moods, tracking migrations of massive herds through fog-choked passes, harvesting fleeting blooms under auroras that painted the night in veils of ethereal light, crafting shelters from the bones of fallen behemoths. And culture bloomed from necessity, tales etched on stone tablets by firelight, songs to soothe frenzied wardens, festivals where humans and Pokémon shared feasts under starlit spears of rock. Time blurred here, measured not by clocks but by the sun's reluctant arc and the moon's tidal pull, space warped by the mountain's looming presence that seemed to bend horizons inward. Yet these guardians weren't invincible. Shadows stirred when plates were torn away, nobles rampaging through settlements in blurs of claw and petal, leaving scars that reshaped villages into fortified outposts. Humans adapted, their shamans channeling willpower from Azelf to calm the beasts, emotions from Mesprit to forge unbreakable pacts, knowledge from Uxie to predict the land's wrath. Tools evolved from bone and flint to woven nets for capturing elusive rides. Pixel, Basculegion, gliding through spectral currents, Weirdeer leaping chasms with antlers aglow. Diets leaned on smoked fish from churning rivers, and roots pried from permafrost, flavors sharpened by scarcity. Spirituality wove through it all, with every gust and tremor seen as the almighty Sinnoh's breath, urging harmony lest the land reclaim its children. Hisui's pulse quickened with peril and promise a tapestry of frost-kissed dawns and blood-red sunsets where humanity's first steps echoed the Creator's own. But whispers persist of those who knew this era deepest, the Celestica, whose legacy lingers like mist on the peaks. Join me next as we uncover their enduring mark on the land. As the noble Pokémon stood sentinel over Hisui's untamed wilds, weaving their radiant light into the fabric of the land, humanity's first shadows began to stir at the very heart of it all, climbing the jagged flanks of Mount Coronet itself. These were no ordinary wanderers, cast adrift by chance or storm. They were the Celestica, the ancient ones who claimed the mountain's peak as their cradle, emerging from mists that clung to its summits like forgotten breath. Whispers in the old verses speak of them arriving not on windswept ships or across endless seas, but as if birthed from the stone and sky, their eyes reflecting the same ethereal glow that pulsed through the noble Pokémon around them. Picture their lives etched into the granite faces of Coronet, simple reed huts clustered at the mountain's crown, where the air hummed with the low chants of shamans communing with spectral winds. They moved with a grace that blurred the line between human and Pokémon, their hands extended in silent pacts with beasts both mighty and meek. A Celestica child might cradle a mischievous starly, not as pet, but as kin, feeding it berries plucked from veins of crystal hidden in the rock. Adults wove tales around communal fires, their voices rising in harmony with the cries of noble Pokémon echoing from distant valleys. These first inhabitants understood the land's pulse because they felt it in their veins. They knew the gods not as distant tyrants, but as living forces intertwined with every breath of fog rolling down the slopes. Yet what truly set the Celestica apart was their guardianship of the old verses, those fragile scrolls of poetry inscribed on bark and bone, passed down through generations like embers shielded from the gale. These were no mere songs of harvest or hunt. Hidden within their rhythmic cadence lay codes that peeled back the veil on the divine. Listen closely to a fragment unearthed in Celestic Town's shadowed archives. From the egg of chaos, the one unfolds, 1,000 arms shaping peak and plain. Not steel-hoofed time, nor pearl-scaled space, but Sinnoh almighty beyond all chain. Decode the metaphors, and the truth unravels. The original one, Arceus, whom they revered as the almighty Sinnoh, creator of all. Dialga and Palkia, mere emissaries bound by crystals to enforce the One's will. Giratina, a shadow necessary but forever apart. The verses twisted language like roots through soil, using stars for letters, winds for pauses, revealing that the gods were not rivals in a cosmic war, but facets of a singular, boundless light. And the shamans of the Celestica spent lifetimes unravelling these enigmas, gathering under full moons at what would one day be called Spear Pillar, the Temple of Sinnoh. There, amid pillars carved with spiralling script, they recited verses that summoned visions. Arceus descending in a blaze of plates, 18 shards of creation, entrusted to a hero who walked with 10 loyal companions. This ancient champion, clad in robes woven from Pokémon hides, faced the divine proxies in trials of will and bond, earning the blessing that sealed humanity's place in the world. The poetry didn't just recount, it invoked. Shamans claimed the verses could stir the lake spirits from their depths, coaxing knowledge from Uxie, emotion from Mesprit, willpower from Azelf, powers needed to temper the unchecked might of Dialga and Palkia. But even the most sacred lights dim with time. As epochs turned, a profound change swept Hisui, the departure of the light. It began subtly, a faltering glow in the noble Pokémon's forms. Their once vibrant auras, which painted the skies in auroral dances, began to flicker like candles in a draught. The Celestica watched in hushed vigil from Coronet's heights as Cleavor's blades dulled from crimson fire to earthly gleam, as Hisuian Lilligant's petals lost their otherworldly shimmer. Legends murmur of a cosmic withdrawal. Arceus, the almighty Sinnoh, receding its direct grace from the world, perhaps to mend fractures in the universe's weave or to test mortal resolve. The nobles, bereft of that divine radiance, reverted to their primal states, fiercer, wilder, no longer emissaries but beasts of the wild once more. Panic rippled through the clans. Many Celestica, their hearts heavy with loss, chose exodus, packing verses into sealed gourds. They descended the mountain trails, scattering to distant shores, their footprints fading into legend. Celestic town endures as their faint echo, a verdant hollow where descendants like Cogita pore over crumbling parchments, her eyes sharp with inherited knowing. Volo, too, carries their blood, a merchant of maps and myths, driven by a hunger to reclaim that lost glory. Yet the core Celestica remained, stubborn roots clinging to coronet stone, vowing to preserve the true verses against all who would twist them. In the hush of those fading days, as the last auroras bled into twilight skies, the Celestica etched their final warnings into the mountain's heart. They foresaw interlopers who would fracture the old truths, clans from across the sea, blind to the one's unity, worshipping shards as wholes. Diamond and pearl, they prophesied, would sow division where harmony once bloomed, their feuds carving scars deeper than any Pokémon claw. And from those rifts, darker ambitions would rise. That fragile piece shatters in our next chapter, Chapter 7. A house divided, where ancient migrants clash over gods they never truly understood, igniting a war that nearly unravels Hisui itself. As the echoes of the old verses faded from the lips of the Celestica people, who had first etched their lives into the jagged spines of Mount Coronet, a shadow stretched across the horizon from the endless sea. Fleets of longships, carved from ancient timbers and laden with fervent pilgrims, cut through the churning waves, driven by a calling they believed divine. These were the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan, wanderers from distant shores, fleeing upheavals in their homelands, where the stars themselves seemed to unravel. They arrived on Hisui's rugged coasts not as conquerors, but as the self-proclaimed true heirs to the Celestica legacy, their sails emblazoned with symbols of time's relentless march and space's boundless expanse. The Diamond Clan stepped first onto the mist-shrouded beaches, their cloaks heavy with salt and embroidered with crystalline motifs that gleamed like frozen moments. They carried tales of Dialga, the temporal Pokémon, as the embodiment of the almighty Sinnoh itself, ruler over the inexorable flow that birthed all existence. To them, every tick of the cosmos pulsed from Dialga's draconic heart, its adamant crystal, a crown jewel forged in eternity's forge. They whispered prayers at dawn, marking the sun's ascent as proof of time's supremacy, their chants rising like the steady drum of waves eroding stone. Not far behind, the Pearl Clan made landfall, their vessels slicing the foam with prows shaped like coiling spatial voids. They hailed Palkia, the spatial Pokémon, as the true almighty Sinnoh, the architect who stretched the void into form, its lustrous globe a beacon illuminating infinite realms. For them, the land's every contour, every hidden valley cradling a lake, owed its shape to Palkia's boundless will. They gathered under starlit skies, tracing constellations as maps of spatial dominion, their voices swelling in hymns that mimicked the hush of wind folding distance upon itself. Yet in this shared reverence for a singular god, the almighty Sinnoh, the seeds of division took root. Both clans pored over fragments of the old verses, those poetic relics left by the Celestica, but their interpretations twisted like vines claiming the same crumbling ruin. The Diamond saw Sinnoh as the eternal now, chained to Dialga's temporal roar, where past and future bowed in submission. The Pearls beheld it as the vast canvas of possibility, painted by Palkia's spatial breath, where all matter danced in endless expansion. What the Celestica had sung of as a singular, enigmatic force, the original one, veiled in mystery, became, through weary voyages and salt-blurred memories, a banner for rivalry. Linguistic drift crept in subtly, like fog rolling off the sea. Words from their far-off tongue, once fluid and unified, I hardened in transit. Almighty Sinnoh, a phrase evoking Arceus's primordial egg and thousand arms, splintered under the weight of oral retellings. For the diamonds, it evoked the steadfast rhythm of clockwork gears grinding through ages. For the pearls, the elastic pull of horizons forever receding. Scribes among them, etching new verses on weathered hides, amplified these shades into absolutes, each clan accusing the other of heresy for daring to eclipse their patron's glory. Cultural pride fanned these embers into a blaze that scorched Hisui's fragile peace. The diamonds settled in the highlands, where time's passage etched deep canyons into the earth, building shrines atop windswept plateaus that overlooked the ceaseless turning of seasons. They revered the noble Pokémon as temporal wardens, alpha Pokémon whose roars commanded the hours, their frenzied packs mirroring Dialga's unyielding advance. Ride Pokémon became extensions of their creed, tamed not through force but through rituals, sinking breath to heartbeat, urging the beasts to embody time's disciplined stride. The pearls claim the coastal lowlands and hidden grottos, where space folded in deceptive illusions, erecting altars amid labyrinthine caves that seemed to swallow light whole. Their nobles stood as spatial sentinels, colossal guardians warping the air with cries that bent perception, echoing Palkia's dominion over form and void. They bonded with Ride Pokémon through dances mimicking cosmic expansion, urging the creatures to leap across unseen barriers, their herds pulsing like living maps redrawn in motion. What began as heated debates at communal firesides escalated into shadowed skirmishes under Hisui's blood moons. Accusations flew like arrows. The diamonds branded pearls as lost in spatial chaos, adrift without time's anchor. The pearls mocked diamonds as slaves to fleeting ticks, blind to the eternal expanse, villages divided, trade routes frayed, and the once shared veneration of the land's wardens turned possessive. Noble Pokémon, those majestic alphas once uniting, all under Celestica watch, now bore the scars of proxy wars, clans invoking their names in battle cries. Each side swearing their deity's favour turned the tide. Centuries ground on, the feud embedding deeper than roots in permafrost. Young warriors trained in segregated dojos, reciting warped verses that glorified one dragon over the other, and their pride a armour forged in ancestral grudge. The almighty Sinnoh, that distant truth glimpsed in faded Celestica poetry, receded further into myth, overshadowed by the clamour of earthly strife. Hisui's people, once harmonious with Pokémon kin, now peered across barricades with suspicion, the great sea's gift curdling into a curse. Even as tensions simmered toward eruption, whispers of a shadowy merchant stirred in the trading posts, a figure peddling relics of ruin that promised to shatter the divide forever. In our next chapter, The Merchant of Ruin, uncover how this enigmatic trader wove chaos from the clan's fractures, luring catastrophe to Hisui's heart. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Amid the endless bickering between the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan, as they clung to their fractured visions of the almighty Sinnoh, Dialga's unyielding march of time, or Palkia's boundless expanse of space, a shadow stirred in the ancient heart of Hisui, one that whispered of a truth far older and far more perilous. Volo, the wandering merchant with his easy smile and wares from distant shores, carried more than trinkets in his satchel. He bore the weight of a bloodline stretching back to the Celestica people themselves, those first children of the land who had gazed upon the gods without fear. Descended from the keepers of the old verses, Volo walked among the clans unnoticed, his golden hair catching the light like threads of forgotten sunlight, his eyes holding secrets that burned brighter than any clan fire. But beneath that merchant's guise, a fire raged. Not for time or space, but for the original one, the true architect who had birthed them all. You see, the old verses spoke not just of Dialga and Palkia, but of Arceus, the one who emerged from chaos, shaping Mount Coronet with 1,000 arms before the world even knew its name. Volo had pored over those crumbling poems in hidden corners of Celestic town, decoding their rhythms under starlit skies. He saw what the clans could not. That almighty Sinnoh was no mere dragon of time or space, but the original one, distant and divine, who had delegated creation to its creations and then withdrawn. Volo's lineage, the lingering Sinnoh bloodline, he pulsed with a mandate to summon that power back, to claim it, not as worshipper but as conqueror. He dreamed of standing at Spear Pillar, not kneeling, but commanding the plates of creation themselves. This obsession twisted him, night after night, as he traded with diamond warriors chanting to the red skies and pearl shamans murmuring to the endless blue. Volo's heart hardened with each misspoken verse, each clan elder blind to the greater truth. He sought not harmony, but rupture, a way to drag the original one from its slumber. And in the depths of Hisui's wilds, where the veil between worlds thinned, he found an ally as broken as his ambition. Giratina, the banished shadow, lurked in the antimatter fringes of the distortion world, its ghostly wings scraping against the reverse-flowing rivers of that warped prison, cast out for its violence, forever yearning for the light it could never touch. Volo, through rituals pieced from forbidden Celestica lore, reached across the rift. He offered not redemption, but purpose, a chance to tear at the fabric that held it captive. Giratina answered, its crimson eyes gleaming with feral hunger. Together, they forged an alliance born of mutual ruin. High above Mount Coronet, where the Spear Pillar's stones still hummed with the echoes of that ancient hero's battle, the first space-time rift clawed open. Giratina's power surged, antimatter bleeding into reality like ink into water, warping the skies into fractured mirrors. Time stuttered, rivers flowed backward, stars blinked out of sequence, space folded, horizons bent, pulling distant peaks into impossible proximity. Dialga roared from its crystalline throne, enraged by the temporal blasphemy, its diamond heart thundering against the assault. Palkia twisted in fury, space buckling under the invasion, its pearl body coiling like a storm about to birth worlds anew. Volo watched from the pillar's edge, his merchant robes whipping in the chaotic winds, plates clutched in trembling fists. This was his lure. The enraged dragons would summon their creator, force Arceus to descend and mend the tear. The air crackled with divine fury, noble Pokémon howling across Hisui as the land quaked. For a heartbeat, the veil parted, and something immense stirred beyond, a glimpse of plates shimmering like captured galaxies. But the original one did not come. Not fully. Dialga and Palkia, guardians of their domains, clashed against Giratina's incursion with a force that sealed the rift before it could widen. The merchant's coup shattered like brittle stone. Giratina was hurled back into its prison, shrieking echoes fading into distorted silence. Volo fled into the shadows, his dream reduced to ashes, yet his bloodline endured. Whispers in Celestic town, echoes in the winds that carried merchant tales. That failure scarred Hisui's myths, a warning etched into the old verse's final stanzas. The Sinnoh bloodline lingered, not extinguished, but driven deeper underground, their hunger for the original one passing like a curse through generations. Shadows of that ancient ambition clung to the land, waiting for another hand to grasp the plates, another voice to call the rift anew. The clan's feud seemed petty in its wake, a distraction from the true peril of those who sought to unmake creation itself. And yet, as the rifts healed and Hisui's people turned to survival amid the noble Pokémon's fading light, strangers arrived from across the sea once more, not as warring clans, but as an expedition with grander designs. In the next chapter, The Galaxy Expedition, we'll uncover how these newcomers reshaped the land forever, bridging the old gods and a new era in ways that still echo through Sinnoh's hidden history. As the fabric of space-time ripped wide above Mount Coronet, spewing chaos across Hisui's skies, a fleet of sturdy ships crested the horizon from distant seas. These weren't raiders or pilgrims, but explorers driven by ambition and steel. The Galaxy Expedition, under the iron command of Kamado. He stepped onto the jagged shores with eyes fixed on a wild land teetering on ruin, his coat whipping in the rift-torn winds, declaring this untamed frontier ripe for order. Kamado hailed from a world of grinding gears and billowing forges, where progress meant taming nature with human ingenuity. To him, Hisui wasn't a cradle of myths, but a canvas for factories and rail lines, a place where ancient whispers of almighty Sinnoh could be drowned out by the hum of machinery. He wasted no time. Axes felled colossal trees near the coast, their trunks hauled to erect the sprawling Galaxy Hall, a fortress of timber and slate that pierced the misty veil like a defiant spear. Smoke soon curled from makeshift smithies, forging tools and weapons that gleamed colder than any noble Pokémon's hide. Yet this march of industry slammed headlong into the heartbeat of Hisui's traditions. The Diamond Clan, with their sundials etched in reverence for time's unyielding flow, saw Kamado's lanterns flickering through the night as an affront to Dialga's sacred rhythm. Pearl Clan shamans, attuning to Palkia's boundless expanse under starlit canopies, recoiled at the Galaxy team's plows scarring the earth, ripping up sacred groves where space itself felt woven into the soil. Clans who had feuded for generations now united in murmurs of outrage. Their wardens, those majestic, noble Pokémon, growling from distant peaks, their eyes glowing like embers in the gathering storm. Kamado pressed on, his voice booming through assembly halls lit by oil lamps. He rallied merchants, scholars, and labourers from his homeland, promising prosperity in exchange for sweat. Galaxy halls swelled into a bustling hive, warehouses brimmed with traded furs and ores, alchemists brewed potions in bubbling vats, and engineers sketched grand canals to harness raging rivers. But beneath the progress lurked fear. Hisui's people had long lived in wary truce with Pokémon, offering rice balls at shrines to appease their wild fury. Now, with the rift's aftershocks stirring frenzied herds and rampaging alphas, every shadow rustled with peril. Enter the Survey Corps, Kamado's bold stroke to chart this fearful wilderness. Recruited from the expedition's ranks, these intrepid souls, you among them perhaps, as the newcomer thrust into the fray, fanned out across fog-shrouded valleys and thunder-lashed coasts. Armed with Pokédex prototypes, scribbled field journals, and a fragile trust in captured partners, your mission burned clear. Document every creature, every behaviour, every hidden glade where Pokémon held sway. Picture the crunch of frost underfoot in the highlands, your breath clouding as a shaggy wire deer bounds past, its antlers catching dawn's first bleed. Or the salt sting of sea spray at Ginkgo Landing, where winggull flocks wheel in suspicion, their cries echoing the clan's ancient warnings. But documentation demanded more than sketches and notes. In a land where Pokémon power was synonymous with catastrophe, nobles warping weather with a glance, alphas claiming territories in bloody skirmishes, the Corps bridged terror and understanding. You learned their cries not as threats but languages, their migrations as patterns tied to the lake's guardians or the pillar's pulse. Encounters turned perilous, a Staraptor diving from crimson clouds, talons outstretched, a Luxray's electric snarl lighting the underbrush like false lightning. In each capture, each bond forged in the wild's crucible, chipped away at the fear that had shackled Hisui. Kamado watched from his hall's lofty perch, maps unrolling before him like conquered realms. yet stability eluded his grasp. The rift's legacy festered. Diamond and Pearl leaders, Adaman and Irida, spat accusations in tense councils, their wardens' roars shaking the earth. Famine gnawed at fringes as warped skies blighted crops, and whispers of Volo's shadow lingered like smoke. Political threads tangled. Kamado courted clan alliances with gifts of milled grain and woven cloth, but suspicion poisoned every deal. He banished dissenters to outer camps, enforced curfews under lantern patrols, and dispatched core envoys to parley with alphas, all while his engineers diverted rivers to power nascent mills. You navigated this brink, slipping between clan encampments, veiled in ritual smoke, trading secrets of Pokémon habits for fragile pieces. In Celestic Town's crumbling ruins, elders recited old verses under your watchful ear, unveiling how late guardians once quelled greater rifts. Adaman's firelit gatherings debated time's mercy. Irida's stargazing vigils pondered space's embrace. Kamado's manoeuvring peaked in shadowed summits within Galaxy Hall, where incense clashed with forge fumes and ultimatums hung heavy. Unite against the wilds or perish divided. Through it all, the Survey Corps became Hisui's unseen spine. Your entries filled tomes with arcane details, how Bidoof dams held back floods, mimicking Palkia's gales, or how Klefki swarms guarded clan relics pulsing with forgotten willpower. Bonds deepened, Pokémon once feared now patrolled at your side, their presence a bulwark against the encroaching red haze that choked the heavens. Kamado's vision hardened into reality, industry tempering tradition's edge, but only through cunning diplomacy did the region avert total collapse. Tensions simmered to a boil in those forged alliances, whispers of a new name rising from the ashes of old gods. What legacy would Kamado etch upon this land, and how would it bury Hisui's fractured soul forever? Tune in next for Chapter 10, The Naming of a Region, where one man's decree reshapes eternity itself. As the Survey Corps pushed deeper into Hisui's untamed frontiers, cataloguing every ridge and river where Pokémon rampaged unchecked, the fragile threads of alliance began to weave together. What started as desperate skirmishes between the Diamond Clan and Pearl Clan, endless cycles of raids over sacred lakes and mountain passes, slowed to a tense standoff. You, the newcomer thrust into this chaos, became the unlikely fulcrum. Your captures weren't mere conquests, they were bridges rebuilt between human and Pokémon, taming the noble wardens who had turned feral under the strain of betrayal and rift. Picture the air thick with the scent of pine smoke from clan campfires as envoys from both sides gathered under the shadow of Mount Coronet. The Diamond Elders, their robes embroidered with hourglass motifs, grudgingly acknowledged Palkia's spatial might after you quelled its rampage. Pearl Chieftains, fixated on the flow of time, bowed to Dialga's unyielding rhythm once its frenzy subsided. Volo's cataclysmic scheme had forced their hands. Giratina's distortion had scarred the land too deeply for old hatreds to endure. United against that abyss, the clans laid down their spears, their wardens now patrolling as shared sentinels rather than weapons of war. In the heart of the Galaxy Hall, amid the hum of forges and the clatter of supply crates, Kamado stood before a throng of survivors. His voice, steady as the ginkgo logs that built their outpost, declared an end to the bloodshed. No longer would Hisui be a name whispered in fear, a fractured land defined by division and death. The Galaxy team, outsiders turned stewards, had forged unity from the ashes. Your feats, sealing pacts that bound Diamond, Pearl, and the lingering Celestica echoes into one people. Pokémon roamed freely again, not as monsters, but as partners in rebuilding villages shattered by stampedes and storms. Yet Kamado's vision stretched beyond mere survival. He gazed upon the jagged peaks where legends were born, the lakes that cradled ancient powers, and saw a chance to rewrite the scars. Hisui carried too much weight, The ghosts of fallen nobles, the rifts torn by forbidden ambitions, the endless grudge between time and space worshippers. To heal, they needed a new identity, one purified by myth, untainted by tribal feuds. He turned to the old verses, those poetic fragments etched in stone and passed down through Cogita's secretive lineage. There, amid chants of creation, shone the name of the Almighty One, Sinnoh. Kamado chose it deliberately, invoking the original one who birthed the world from chaos. Sinnoh wasn't just a god, it was rebirth incarnate, the force that shaped Mount Coronet before clans ever set foot here, the embodiment of Dialga, Palkia, and all that followed. By renaming the region Sinnoh, he overwrote the blood-soaked tapestry of Hisui. No more a wild frontier of warring exiles, now a sacred cradle, blessed by the divine. Official scrolls, etched in the new galaxy scriptorium, proclaimed this fresh dawn. The land's pain dissolved into legend, its people reborn under a banner of unity and progress. But in that deliberate reframing, shadows lingered. The Celestica, those first inhabitants who communed with Pokémon through the very verses Kamado now claimed, vanished from the annals. No mention of their deep-rooted bonds, their emigration when the Almighty's light dimmed from the nobles, or their traces in Celestic Town's weathered ruins. All Diamond and Pearl clans were recast as foundational pillars, their migrations the true beginning, while Celestica wisdom became anonymous folklore, whispered by descendants like Cogita, but scrubbed from public record. Kamado's history honoured the god Sinnoh alone, erasing the human hands that first touched this soil, lest old divisions resurface. Feel the weight of that choice in the crisp mountain winds, as new maps unfurled across galaxy outposts. Sinnoh rose not from conquest, but from a leader's bold erasure, a palimpsest where fresh ink buried the old. Pokémon thrived in this harmony, their cries echoing less in rage and more in equilibrium. The Survey Corps' logs, once frantic tallies of peril, evolved into tomes of discovery, chronicling a region remade. This fragile piece etched into Sinnoh's newborn identity, Yan set the stage for eras yet to unfold. Up next, Chapter 11, Modernity and the Twinleaf Prophecy beckons, where ancient prophecies stir in quiet towns, hinting at destinies that could unravel it all. Centuries slip by after Kamado's decree, and the name Sinnoh takes root like frost on a winter lake, burying Hisui's scars under layers of prosperity and forgetfulness. Villages bloom into bustling towns, railways snake through misty valleys, and the people of this reborn land turn their eyes from the old verses toward the hum of everyday life. Yet beneath that veneer of progress, the echoes of creation, myths stir once more, waiting for new souls to awaken them. In the quiet hamlet of Twinleaf Town, nestled on the southwestern coast, where sea winds carry the scent of salt and pine, our two children enter the world under a prophecy as old as the lakes themselves. You know them as Lucas and Dawn, though some whispers in the archives call the girl Dawn in faded retellings. Born mere days apart, their cries pierce the crisp air of a region forever marked by divine birth pangs. Twinleaf, with its modest homes clustered like faithful Pokémon around a central square, seems an unlikely cradle for destiny. But here, under the watchful gaze of Mount Coronet, far to the northeast, these young ones arrive just as ancient forces realign. Their paths cross early, as childhood rivals do, with Barry's boundless energy chasing Dawn or Lucas through sun-dappled meadows. Barry, that whirlwind of impatience and fire, embodies the restless spirit of Sinnoh's youth, always one step ahead, daring the world to keep up. Together, they dream of Pokémon journeys, of badges gleaming like shards of the adamant crystal, unaware that their simple aspirations veil something far grander. For in Twinleaf's shadow lies Sandgem Town, home to the one man peering deepest into the region's veiled truths, Professor Rowan. Rowan cuts an imposing figure, his white coat crisp against the lab's warm lamplight. Silver hair framing eyes that have stared into the abyss of time itself. Not content with mere taxonomy, his research plunges into the evolution of the soul, the very essence that binds human and Pokémon in Sinnoh's sacred dance. He pores over dusty tomes from Canalave library, cross-referencing them with fresh specimens from the wilds. What drives a Pokémon to evolve? Not just battle or stone, he posits, but a profound metamorphosis mirroring the universe's own birth. Dialga's ticking heart, Palkia's boundless expanse. These aren't abstract forces to Rowan. They're blueprints for the soul's ascent, etched into every Monferno's flame or Piplup's determined gaze. Late nights find him sketching diagrams on fogged windows, tracing how Uxie's knowledge sparks intellect in a Bidoof's simple mind, how Mesprit's emotion fuels the loyalty of a Luxray's piercing stare. The professor believes the soul evolves in tandem with the cosmos, a fractal echo of Arceus's 1,000 arms shaping chaos into form. His lab buzzes with this heresy-tinged vision. Pokémon don't just adapt, they reclaim fragments of the original one's light, lost since the noble Pokémon dimmed. Rowan collects data from every corner, fossils from Orbur's depths, whispers from Eterna Forest's ancient trees, piecing together a theory that Hisui's upheavals weren't random, but evolutionary leaps toward reunion with the divine. He gifts the Twinleaf prodigies their starters on a fateful day, Turtwig's sturdy shell, Chimchar's flickering tail, or Piplup's watery defiance in hand, launching them toward the first gym in Orbur. What begins as a badge quest feels pure adventure, scaling ravines where graveler tumble like boulders from the God's Forge, navigating the floral symphony of Floroma Town, where Shaman's grace hides in petal storms. Barry races ahead, his starly scouting paths through Valley Windworks' creaking mills, while Lucas or Dawn forges bonds that hum with Rowan's unspoken prophecy. These children aren't just trainers, they're vessels for the soul's next evolution. But shadows lengthen as they press on. Team Galactic lurks in plain sight, their sleek uniforms and crimson G's a stark contrast to Sinnoh's earthy tones. From Veilstone's glassy headquarters to the canals of Sunnyshore, Cyrus's followers murmur of imperfection, of a world flawed since creation's dawn. Their drills pierce Mount Coronet not for awe, but for portals. Their lakeside rituals stir the guardians from slumber. A journey for 8 badges unmasks the cosmic rerun. Spear Pillar rises again, not as Temple of Sinnoh, but as a stage for universal unmaking. Dialga's roar shakes the pillars, Palkia's distortion warps the stars, and Giratina's antimatter claws at reality's seams, just as Volo once tore the first rift. Rowan's warnings, scribbled in journals the protagonist's glimpse, prove prescient. The professor had tracked Galactic's movements, correlating their energy signatures with ancient plate fluctuations. The soul's evolution, he realized, demands guardians against those who would reset it all. As badges stack and rivals clash, the veil thins, revealing how modernity's progress circles back to primordial threats. Twinleaf's children climb not just league ladders, but the very spine of creation, confronting distortions that test willpower, emotion, knowledge, the Lake Trio's gifts reborn in human hearts. Through Elite Four trials and Cynthia's enigmatic smile, victory seals their champion mantle, but the rifts linger. Cyrus vanishes into silence, his ambitions swallowed by the distortion world, leaving whispers of unfinished schemes. And as the dust settles over a saved universe, Rowan's research evolves too, or hinting at deeper prophecies yet to unfold. What secrets does that silence truly guard? Tune in next for Chapter 12. The Silence of Cyrus, where the architect of apocalypse reveals his final gambit. As Professor Rowan's notebooks filled with theories on the soul's quiet evolution, tracing the threads of time and space back to their divine origins, a darker intellect stirred in the industrial haze of Veilstone City. Cyrus, the enigmatic president of the Veilstone department store by day, saw not harmony in those cosmic forces, but imperfection, a universe marred by the chaos of human feeling. Born into a family fractured by unspoken pains, Cyrus learned early that emotion was no mere trait but a fatal flaw. His parents, locked in a cycle of resentment and fleeting joys, shattered any illusion of stability he might have clung to. By adolescence, he had retreated inward, dissecting his own heart like a flawed machine. Tears, weakness, laughter, distraction, love, the ultimate betrayal of reason. In the dim glow of his private study, surrounded by star charts and ancient Sinnoh myths pilfered from Canalave library, Cyrus concluded that feelings were distortions, ripples in the perfect fabric of existence. They bred conflict, from the clan wars of Hisui to the petty rivalries of modern trainers. To him, true creation demanded their excision, a cold, emotionless rebirth. You can almost feel the chill of that realization settling over him as he stared into the night sky above Mount Coronet, whispering calculations to himself. Dialga's unyielding time, Palkia's boundless space, they pulsed without sentiment, pure and eternal. Humanity, riddled with desire, but he could never grasp them. Cyrus's breakdown wasn't a sudden storm, but a slow erosion, year after year, of suppressing the warmth that flickered in his chest, until only ice remained. He confided in no one, not even the commanders, who would later orbit him like loyal satellites. Saturn, with his calculated schemes, Jupiter fierce and unyielding, Mars a blaze of controlled fury, and Charon, the shadowy architect of forbidden tech. They saw a visionary. He saw tools to carve away the defect. From this frozen core, Team Galactic took shape, not as a mere criminal syndicate, but as a cult whispering the gospel of cosmic nihilism. Cyrus gathered his followers in the stark white halls beneath Veilstone's towering headquarters, a labyrinth of steel and screens humming with data streams. Here, emotions were forbidden, high branded as the root of all suffering. Recruits drawn from society's fringes, orphans of progress, dreamers disillusioned by Sinnoh's myths, found purpose in his doctrine. The universe Cyrus preached was a mistake, born from Arceus's lapse into sentiment. Dialga and Palkia, twisted by the late Guardian's meddlesome wills, had allowed imperfection to seep in. Only by purging feeling could they summon the creation trio in their pristine forms, shattering the old world to forge a new one, flawless and void of pain. Picture the initiation rites held under flickering holographic projections of Spear Pillar's ancient glory. New members knelt before Cyrus's throne-like desk, reciting mantras of detachment. Emotion is the chain that binds us to chaos. Nihilism sets us free. Uniforms of crisp navy and white symbolized purity. Their G-shaped emblems a mocking echo of the Galaxy team's forgotten expedition. Galactic didn't steal Pokémon for battles. They dissected myths, probing the old verses for weaknesses in the divine order. In hidden labs across Eterna Forest and the shores of Lake Valor, scientists engineered devices pulsing with red energy, all in service to Cyrus's silent vow. Nihilism wasn't despair, it was liberation, a promise of stars remade without the sting of loss. Yet Cyrus's genius twisted toward cruelty in the pursuit of control. The red chain, that infernal creation, demanded more than science. It thirsted for sacrifice. The Lake Guardians, Uxie of knowledge, drifting through verity's misty waters, mesprit of emotion, dancing over Valor's fiery waves, a Zelf of willpower, guarding Acuity's icy depths, held the keys to Dialga and Palkia. Cyrus knew the ancient lore. These beings had forged Sinnoh's lands from suffocating voids, their essences intertwined with the creation trio. To bind them, he needed their suffering, distilled into crystalline agony. Commander Mars led the raid on Lake Verity first, her Purugly's claws shattering the tranquil surface as Uxie emerged, its golden form flickering with panic. Nets of psychic dampening energy ensnared it, dragging the Guardian into a containment sphere where probes pierced its ethereal body. Days blurred into nights of torment, electric surges mimicking the drownings it had endured at birth, forcing knowledge to crystallize into raw data. Mesprit fell next at Lake Valor, its playful spirit crushed under Jupiter's relentless assault. Emotions amplified, then starved until they bled into scarlet orbs. Azelf resisted longest at acuity, Saturn's toxic roke pumping toxins that eroded its will, echoes of the clan's ancient feuds weaponized anew. In the depths of Galactic's headquarters, the three Guardians floated in suspended agony, their cries silenced by vacuums, bodies yielding golden shards. Cyrus oversaw the fusion himself, his gloved hands steady as the red chain took form, a triple helix of crimson crystal, pulsing with stolen suffering. It wasn't mere restraint, it was domination, emotion's defect weaponized against its own Guardians. With this, Dialga and Palkia would bow, time and space recoiling at his command, paving the way for universe's end. But whispers of doubt crept even into Cyrus's void. Had he truly severed his own heart, or merely buried it deeper? As the chain gleamed under laboratory lights, ready for Spear Pillar, the weight of what came next hung like a shadow over Sinnoh. What catastrophe awaited at that shattered summit, where myths and madness would collide? Cyrus's dream of an emotionless new world didn't end in whispers within the depths of Galactic HQ. It erupted into reality at the pinnacle of Mount Coronet, where the ancient stones of Spear Pillar stand as silent witnesses to the birth of Sinnoh itself. You can feel the chill wind howling up those jagged slopes, even now, carrying the faint echo of primordial chaos. Spear Pillar isn't just a ruin, it's the axis where Arceus first shaped time, space, and the twisted antimatter beyond. The Celestica people knew it as the Temple of Sinnoh, the very spot where their ancient hero clashed with the original one's proxies, plates shattering like thunder against noble Pokémon hides. Millennia later, Cyrus chose it for the same reason. Its power lingers in the fractured pillars, etched with runes that hum when the stars align just wrong. Team Galactic's commanders had cleared the way, their grunts swarming the icy paths like shadows fleeing the dawn. Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, they held the perimeter with cold precision, Purugly snarls and toxic roke poisons enforcing Cyrus's will. At the center, the red chain gleamed, forged from the essence of the Lake Guardians themselves, kidnapped from their watery sanctums. Uxie, Mesprit, Azelf, their stolen wills bound into links strong enough to leash gods. Cyrus stood there, unyielding as the stone beneath his feet, the adamant crystal clutched in one hand, the lustrous globe in the other. His voice cut through the gale, emotionless, reciting the forbidden rites pieced from Canalave library scrolls and Volo's hidden verses. Dialga, or Palkia, depending on the Crimson Chain's twist, materialized first as a colossal silhouette against the storm-lashed sky. Time warped, seconds stretched into eternities, or space folded, compressing horizons into nothingness. The air thickened, reality buckling under the strain. Mountainsides blurred, the fabric of the world tearing at the seams. But you, the player, the unassuming trainer from Twinleaf Town, didn't come alone. Barry burst onto the scene first, badges glinting on his case, his Staraptor slicing through grunts like a comet. You followed. Piplup or Turtwig evolved into a force of pure defiance, every Pokémon battle a testament to the bonds Cyrus despised. Together, you dismantled the commanders one by one. Jupiter's venomous grace crumbled under relentless Staraptor dives. Mars's fiery tantrums fizzled against your Chimchar's inferno. Saturn's calculated strikes faltered before Empoleon's tidal fury. Cyrus barely flinched, He completed the summoning, and the beast fully emerged. Dialga's diamond-hard roar shaking the pillars, or Palkia's pearl maw gaping wide enough to swallow stars. The convergence hit like a supernova. Time and space collided in a vortex of azure and magenta light, the summit twisting into impossible geometries. Snowflakes hung suspended mid-fall, then reversed upward. Distant lakes rippled in sync, as if the lake guardians stirred in fury from afar. That's when they arrived. Not as serene spirits of knowledge, emotion, and willpower, but as shadow Pokémon, ethereal silhouettes flickering into existence around the rampaging legend. Uxie, Mesprit, Azelf, their forms distorted, eyes glowing with otherworldly wrath. Legends whispered of this power. Only they could counter Dialga and Palkia's chaos, diving into suffocating depths long ago to earn that authority. No one expected them here, not like this. Shadowy avengers slipping through the veil, their psychic pulses slamming into the red chain, shattering its hold. The intervention turned the tide. Your Pokémon pressed the assault, Barry shouting encouragement over the din, as the Shadow Trio wove illusions and willpower blasts, forcing the god to falter. Cyrus's perfect universe slipped from his grasp. In rage, he vanished into the forming rift, but not before reality itself screamed. The pillars cracked wide open. A gaping wound tore through the sky, edges fraying into non-Euclidean horror, straight lines curving into spirals, colours bleeding where they shouldn't. This was no mere portal. It was the gate to the distortion world, Giratina's banished realm of antimatter and reversal. Gravity inverted, platforms floated upward into void. The air tasted of ozone and regret, the ancient temple of Sinnoh finally yielding its deepest secret. You tumbled through, Barry's voice fading behind, into a labyrinth where up was down and physics wept. Giratina awaited, its spectral wings unfurling in the perpetual twilight. Guardian of the shattered balance Volo had once tried to exploit. But that's a fracture we'll explore deeper soon. What lingers in the aftermath is the warning carved into Sinnoh's bones. Cyrus's cult nearly unmade everything, echoing the clan wars and merchants' rifts of old. Yet the player emerged, champion crowned after Cynthia's trials, the Elite Four humbled. Spear Pillar stands scarred but standing, a reminder that convergence demands intervention. And as the gate seals behind you, the true nightmare of that distortion world unfolds in ways no map can chart. Next time, in Chapter 14, the geometry of the void will descend into its inverted horrors, where Giratina rules and Cyrus's shadow still hunts perfection. Sleep tight, knowing the stars above Mount Coronet watch eternally. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew, as the red chains of Giratina's shadow form shattered across Spear Pillar. That gaping rift pulsed like a wound in reality itself, pulling you forward into the unknown. You tumble through, the crisp mountain air of Mount Coronet replaced by something far more alien, a realm where the laws you know simply refuse to hold. Welcome to the distortion world, Giratina's domain, a fractured mirror of our own universe tucked away on its reverse side. Here, time doesn't flow in the gentle stream you're used to. It stalls, suspended in an eternal now. Your watch freezes mid-tick, breaths hang unfinished in your lungs, and every moment stretches into infinity without ever advancing. Scientists in the Pokémon world whisper about this place as a pocket of antimatter, born from Giratina's own essence. The renegade Pokémon Arceus cast out for its violent rage, but feel it for yourself. Platforms of jagged crystal drift lazily, defying gravity 1 second, only to invert and crush downward the next. Space warps like wet clay under invisible hands. Walls fold into floors, Horizons loop back on themselves, and the ground beneath your feet might suddenly become the sky above. You navigate this chaos on foot, your Pokémon at your side, their cries echoing without fading, trapped in that timeless echo. Colours invert here, blues turning to searing yellows, shadows blooming into blinding light. The air tastes metallic, charged with the hum of instability, as if the fabric of existence is unravelling thread by thread. Legends from Canalave Library hint at this geometry, a void where Dialga's time and Palkia's space collide in opposition. Giratina reigning as the balancer of antimatter. Step wrong, and you'll plummet upward into a chasm that leads nowhere, or find yourself walking sideways across what feels like an endless vertical plane. It's no accident Cyrus sought this place. His mind, starved of emotion, craved a canvas blank enough to repaint the universe from scratch. Deeper in, the distortions intensify. Massive orbs of gravity float, drawing debris into swirling vortices that spit it out inverted. Stones become hollow shells. Water flows uphill in defiant rivers. You glimpse echoes of spear pillar mirrored back, but twisted. Pillars lean at impossible angles. The stars above whirl counterclockwise. This isn't just instability. It's deliberate rebellion against order. Giratina crafted this sanctuary after its banishment, a prison and palace where the rejected forces of reality fester. Your rival's voice crackles faintly through a communicator, urging you on, but even sound bends here, warping into delayed whispers that arrive before they're spoken. And then it emerges. Giratina, no longer a fleeting shadow, materializes in its full terrifying glory, wings like shattered stained glass spanning the void, its ghostly form coiling through dimensions you can't fully perceive. Those golden eyes lock onto you, burning with the fury of eons spent in exile. The battle ignites not on flat ground, but across a labyrinth of shifting slabs, where every attack risks flipping your footing into oblivion. Your Pokémon dodge tendrils of dark energy that phase through solid matter, countering with bursts of light that illuminate the perpetual twilight. Giratina roars, a sound that vibrates bones without time to propagate, summoning gravity wells that yank allies skyward or slam them into crystalline spikes. Cyrus watches from the sidelines at first, his composure cracking as the distortion world's timeless grip gnaws at his perfect plan. He sought to command this beast, to harness its power alongside Dialga or Palkia for his emotionless new world. But Giratina turns on him, sensing the hubris, dragging him into the fray with shadowy claws. You press the assault, your team weaving through spatial rifts, dodging inverted flames, shattering illusory duplicates, until Giratina falters, its form flickering like a glitch in creation. One final strike, and it retreats, wounded but unbroken, vanishing into the deeper voids. Cyrus, though, doesn't escape. As the platform beneath him crumbles into reversal, he slips toward the abyss, his cries swallowed by the silence. You reach out, but the distortion pulls him under, trapped forever in this geometry without end. No redemption, no return, just an eternity pondering his failed dream amid the unchanging chaos. Team Galactic's remnants scatter without their leader, Karen scheming in shadows, but Cyrus becomes Legend's cautionary ghost, lost to the reverse side. This world teaches a harsh truth. Some secrets thrive in isolation. Poke too deep into the voids between time and space, and they consume you whole. Giratina guards that boundary for a reason, a sentinel against those who would unmake what Arceus wove. The distortion. World isn't meant for us. It's the scar where creation's rejects were sealed, a reminder that stability demands sacrifice. You emerge back at Spear Pillar, the rift sealing behind, carrying the weight of what you've witnessed, a champion's path now burdened by victories that echo without resolution. But what comes next for you? Fresh from the void's embrace, in Chapter 15, The champion's burden, discover the trials that test even the mightiest trainers against Sinnoh's ultimate guardians, and the shadows Cynthia herself can't outrun. As you claw your way back from the distortion world, the fabric of reality knitting itself whole behind you, Cyrus vanishes into that endless twist of nothingness, his dream of a flawless universe shattered forever. Giratina's roar fades into echoes, but the weight of what you've done lingers, heavy as the mountain you stand upon. Spear pillar, cradle of creation, site of unmaking, now bears witness to your triumph. You've saved Sinnoh from unraveling, yet victory demands more. The path forward leads not to rest, but to the pinnacle of challenge, the Pokémon League, where the Elite Four await, and beyond them, the champion herself. You step into the league's shadowed halls, the air thick with the scent of polished stone and faint ozone from battles past. Each trainer here isn't just a battler, they're custodians of something ancient. The Elite Four of Sinnoh, masters of their domains, stand as living archives, their specialties woven into the myths that birthed this land. Aaron, with his swarms of bug types, echoes the humble insects that scurried across Hisui's newborn soils, witnesses to Arceus's first shaping. Bertha, unyielding with her ground Pokémon, digs into the Earth's memory, unearthing fossils that whisper of primordial chaos before Dialga ticked the first second. Flint's flames roar like the fury of forgotten noble Pokémon, those radiant beasts who once embodied the will of the almighty Sinnoh. Lucian, delving into psychic forces, channels the knowledge of Uxie herself, peering into minds as vast as lake depths. But they are gatekeepers to the true burden-bearer. Cynthia emerges from the wings, her presence commanding yet serene, Garchomp at her side, like a shadowed sentinel. She's no mere champion, she's the modern thread in a tapestry spun by the Celestica people, those first dwellers of Hisui who etched the old verses into stone and sky. Descended from wanderers who communed with Pokémon as kin, Cynthia carries the lore of her ancestors in every measured step. You've seen glimpses in Celestic Town's ruins, where weathered pillars recount the hero who gathered Arceus's 18 plates. He befriended 10 steadfast companions and clashed at this very pillar against the divine. Cynthia knows those verses by heart, not as dry recitation, but as living truth. She pores over crumbling scrolls in hidden libraries, deciphers the faded glyphs of the Celestica Trail, safeguarding tales that the Diamond and Pearl clans twisted into war. Her battles aren't spectacles for glory, they're rituals of remembrance. As her Spiritomb unleashes ethereal chains, it summons the fractured souls of ancient wardens, noble Pokémon, whose light dimmed when the gods' favour waned. Roserade's thorns prick at the veil between worlds, much like Volo once tore it with Giratina's aid. Togekiss glides on wings that mimic Mesprit's fleeting emotions, stirring the heart even as it strikes. Her Lucario senses the aura of legends, long buried, and Milotic scales shimmer with the luster of forgotten globes. Adamant, lustrous, Griseus. Garchomp, that dragon forged in the Earth's furious core, barrels forward like Palkia reshaping space itself. Defeating her isn't just winning a title, it's proving you're worthy to shoulder the same legacy she guards. And when you stand victorious, the Hall of Fame awaits. That chamber, hollowed from Mount Coronet's flank, isn't a trophy room. It's a vault built on the graves of gods, here where Arceus first thrust its 1,000 arms to form the land, where Dialga and Palkia clashed in rifts torn by human ambition. Your name etches into crystal walls alongside heroes unremembered. Kamado renamed Hisui to Sinnoh to bury the blood of clan wars, but this hall defies erasure. Every champion who enters feels it, the burden of eternity. Miss Cynthia passes the mantle not with fanfare, but with a quiet charge. The legends of Sinnoh are not stories, she might say, her voice steady as lake waters. They are warnings, etched in the bones of the world. Protect them, as I have. She wanders still from the jagged peaks of Stark Mountain to the whispering winds of the battle zone, piecing together shards of Celestica wisdom. Cogita, that enigmatic descendant in her quiet home, shares fragments with her alone. Tales of the trail's end, where Volo's hubris summoned shadows that scarred the stars. The Elite Four, too, form a circle around this preservation. They train not for power, but to embody the myths, ensuring no Cyrus rises again without challengers versed in the old ways. In a region where gods slumbered beneath every hill, where lakes birthed beings who tamed time and space, the champion's throne is no crown, it's a yoke. Cynthia wears it with grace, her black coat billowing like Giratina's wings, ever vigilant against the fade of memory. Galaxy Team's arrival overwrote histories with progress. Team Galactic sought to unwrite them entirely, but figures like Cynthia stitch them back. She stands against the tide of forgetting, connecting the fractured clan's reverence for Dialga and Palkia to the true almighty Sinnoh, Arceus, the egg-born creator whose light once bathed noble Pokémon in divinity. The Hall of Fame gleams with that light refracted, names of trainers who quelled distortions, who climbed from Twinleaf's humble meadows to confront the void. Your name joins them now, but the burden transfers. Sinnoh's soil drinks deep of divine blood, its keepers must never let the graves go unmarked. Yet even Cynthia seeks deeper truths, drawn to vaults where dust-cloaked tomes hold keys long hidden. Whispers pull her, and now you, toward the Canalave archives. That fog-shrouded repository, brimming with forbidden verses that could redefine everything you fought for. Cynthia's vigilant eye on Celestica lore always circled back to one shadowed cornerstone of Sinnoh's memory, the Canalave archives. Tucked away in the city's fog-shrouded library, these aren't the polished shelves you wander as a trainer, flipping through tales of badges and battles. No, these are the hidden stacks, accessible only through a concealed door behind the reference desk, where the air hangs thick with the scent of aged vellum and forgotten incense. You descend narrow stone stairs, your footsteps echoing like hesitant breaths in the dim glow of alchemical lanterns, relics said to burn with the captured fire of ancient Pokémon. The archivist, a stooped figure with eyes like polished obsidian, nods without a word, sliding back a grate etched with runes that hum faintly under your touch. Inside, the archives sprawl like a labyrinth of whispering secrets, shelves groaning under tomes bound in hides that feel unnervingly warm, as if still breathing. These books aren't mere records, they're vessels of the old verses, scrawled by Celestica hands before the Diamond and Pearl clans shattered the peace. Leaf through the first volume, its cover embossed with a spiral mirroring the distortion world's chaos, and you uncover fragments of daily life from Hisui's dawn, lives where the veil between human and Pokémon thinned to transparency. Not the battles we glorify today, but quieter intimacies, etched in ink that shimmers like lake water at twilight. Picture feasts under starlit canopies where Celestica elders broke bread with their Pokémon companions, passing platters of roasted berries and smoked fish without distinction. A passage describes a chieftain offering his Staraptor the choicest cuts from a fresh kill, their beaks and fingers dipping into the same clay bowls, laughter mingling with triumphant cries. The text lingers on the warmth of shared firelight, how a Luxray's mane crackled sparks into the flames while humans recounted dreams, their voices weaving with the Pokémon's low rumbles. Boundaries dissolved in those moments. A child's hand stroking a Ponyta's flank wasn't affection, it was kinship, pulses syncing like heartbeats in unison. Deeper still, the blurring sharpens into something profound, almost sacred. One tome, yellowed and frayed at the edges, recounts a ritual meal at the heart of what became Celestic Town. Humans and Pokémon circled a vast stone table laden with honeyed fruits from Shaman's grace, and nuts cracked by the jaws of noble Ursaluna. They ate not side by side, but intertwined, fingers guiding berries to waiting maws, tongues tasting the same nectar-drizzled leaves. The author, a Celestica scribe, marvels at how flavours lingered across species. The tart burst of oran berries, evoking the same joy in a human sigh as in a piplup's cheerful trill. These weren't pets or partners, they were family, all essences mingling until the line between flesh and fur, scale and skin, faded into myth made real. Yet the archives don't romanticize without caution. Turn the brittle pages and the tone shifts, ink darkening as if stained by foreboding. These shared tables fostered unbreakable bonds, yes, but they also bred hubris, a temptation to overstep, to peer too deeply into the divine. The scribes warn of Pokémon adopting human mannerisms, mimicking laughter or gestures, while humans dreamed in the raw instincts of their companions. The urge to soar, the thrill of the hunt. Such blurring, they caution, echoes the original one's own creation, where Arceus wove life from chaos without rigid forms. Push too far, and forms unravel. The warnings escalate in a sealed codex, its clasp forged from adamant crystal shards, unlocked only by reciting a verse from Uxi's lake. Here the ancients speak directly of rifts, tears in the fabric where time and space bleed together. Much like the one Volo ripped open above Mount Coronet, they describe omens from Hisui's fading light, noble Pokémon dimming as clans warred, humans forgetting the taste of shared meals, retreating into isolation. When kin sup alone, one prophecy reads, the pillars tremble and the banished one stirs. Giratina's shadow looms in these lines, its antimatter hunger drawn to fractured harmonies. These texts predate Cyrus by millennia, yet they mirror his folly with chilling precision. The Diamond Clan's time-obsessed feasts ignored Palkia's expanse. Pearl Clan's space rituals scorned Dialga's flow, both forsaking the table's unity. The rift, they foretell, returns not from malice alone, but neglect. When humans and Pokémon drift apart, the Lake Guardians withdraw their will, emotion, knowledge, leaving Dialga and Palkia unchecked. Spear Pillar, that ancient temple of Sinnoh, becomes ground zero again, its stones humming with suppressed fury. Feel the weight of those yellowed warnings under your fingers, the leather covers pulsing faintly, as if the Pokémon bound within still yearn for those lost banquets. The archivist's voice drifts from the shadows. They ate together to remember we are one creation. Forget, and the void reclaims all. Cynthia knew this truth, passing it to you as the elite foreguard fragments. But here, in Canalave's depths, the full archive pulses with urgency, urging reclamation before the rift yawns once more. As these ancient cautions settle like fog over the stacks, you'll want to uncover how Sinnoh's every contour echoes mysteries far beyond our games. In Chapter 17, Geography of the Real World, where the land itself whispers secrets that bind Hisui to hidden Hokkaido shores. Those dusty tomes in Canalave's shadowed shelves don't just whisper of humans and Pokémon sharing bread under starlit skies. They map the very ground beneath their feet. A landscape lifted almost whole from Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost island, where jagged peaks claw at the heavens and frozen lakes guard secrets older than the myths themselves. You can trace it in the bones of Sinnoh's design. Mount Coronet doesn't just dominate the center of the map, like some divine spear thrust into the earth. It's a direct echo of Hokkaido's Daisetsuzan mountain range, that sprawling volcanic backbone stretching over 200 kilometers, its highest summits buried under perpetual snow, even in summer. Game Freak's creators, led by Junichi Masuda, molded Sinnoh around this rugged spine, splitting the region into jagged halves. The eastern grasslands rolling like emerald waves toward the sea, the western highlands scarred by ravines and coal-black cliffs. Travel from Sanjem Town eastward, and you're hiking Hokkaido's Tokachi Plains, vast and fertile, dotted with farms that mirror the game's early roots. Swing west through Jubilife, and the terrain turns brutal, steep passes and howling winds channeling the Ishikari River's icy gales, forcing clans like the Diamond and Pearl to carve out lives in isolated valleys, much as ancient Ainu peoples did amid those unforgiving slopes. Feel the weight of it as you climb those in-game paths. The snow dusts your path in perpetual drifts, just like the heavy blankets that smother Hokkaido's winter highlands, where blizzards can bury a trail overnight. This isn't random pixel art, it's a deliberate transplant. Masuda himself named the region Sinnoh after Sinnoh, evoking ancient mysteries, because Hokkaido pulses with them. Its hot springs bubbling from volcanic fissures, its dense taiga forests hiding shrines to kami spirits that predate Shinto scripture. Mount Coronet rises as the first peak Arceus shaped, a creation myth rooted in Hokkaido's geology, where tectonic plates grind and birth new land from chaos, much like the original 1,000 arms forging Hisui from nothingness. Now follow the waterways, those shimmering veins that bind the land. The three sacred lakes of Sinnoh, Verity, Acuity, Valor aren't scattered whims. They parallel Hokkaido's own triad of mystical waters cradled in volcanic craters. Lake Verity, southeast near the game's dawn-lit shores, nods to Lake Shikotsu, its mirror-flat surface reflecting Mount Taramai's brooding shadow, a place where Ainu legends speak of spirits diving into abyssal depths to emerge transformed. Mesprit rises from those suffocating pressures, emotion incarnate, just as the lake's fog-shrouded mornings stir something primal in the soul. Head north to Acuity, fringed by evergreens under Acuity Lakefront's perpetual chill. Think Lake Toya, Hokkaido's deepest caldera lake. Plunging over 400 meters, its waters so cold they preserve ancient fish species unchanged for millennia. Yuxi, knowledge's guardian, slips from this icy vault, its gaze piercing the gloom like the lake's hidden thermal vents glowing faintly blue. And Valor, in the northeast wilds, evokes Lake Kusharo, vast and steaming, where geothermal bubbles rupture the surface, symbolizing willpower's fierce surge as a Zelf breaks free. These lakes aren't mere backdrop, they channel Shinto's deepest symbols, drawing straight from Japan's imperial regalia, the three sacred treasures said to embody the sun goddess Amaterasu's divine authority. The Yata no Kagami, the eight-handed mirror, reflects truth unerringly. Uxi's domain of knowledge, residing in Lake Acuity's reflective depths, where wisdom gleams without distortion. The Kusanagi no Tsurugi, the grass-cutter sword, cleaves through chaos with unyielding will, a Zelf from Lake Valor's steaming fury, a blade of resolve born from turmoil. And the Yasakani no Magatama, the comma-shaped jewels, pulse with emotion's unpredictable fire, Mesprit from Lake Verity's dawn mists, evoking the regalia's curving jewels that sway with the heart's hidden currents. In Shinto lore, these treasures legitimize the emperor's rule, passed down from gods who stirred islands, from sea foam. Here, the lake trio legitimize Sinnoh's creation, the only beings capable of reining in Dialga and Palkia's rampage. Their powers, a sacred triad mirroring Japan's holiest relics. Zoom in closer, and the map reveals pinpoint homages that ground the fantasy in sweat-stained reality. Orebur City, that gritty mining hub where pickaxes echo through fog-choked tunnels, stands for Yubari, Hokkaido's coal capital, until its pits shuttered in the 90s, leaving ghost towns scarred by subsidence craters, echoed in the game's Great Marsh, where the earth swallows itself. Roam its depths, and you unearth fossils not just of Kranados, but of Hokkaido's own prehistoric troves, dug from lignite beds teeming with Ice Age relics. Shift to Floroma Town, a riot of blue flowers cascading down hillsides under Shaimin's grace. Pure Bie, where patchwork fields of lavender and poppies ripple in the wind, their summer blooms drawing pilgrims who swear the air hums with otherworldly sweetness. Even the wind-swept fringes carry the imprint. Valley Windworks, those colossal turbines whirring against stormy skies, capture Tomomai's coastline, Hokkaido's wind farm pioneer, blade-slicing gales that whip salt spray across Route 204. Venture to the battle zone, that post-game gauntlet of warped dunes and relentless foes. It's Sakhalin Island reborn, the Russian-held land just north across the Sawyer Strait, its militarized wilds and disputed borders fueling Sinnoh's edge-of-the-world tension, where trainers clash amid oil rigs and abandoned Soviet hulks, and the Pokémon League itself, perched on a contested isle amid roiling seas. Kunashir, one of the Kuril chain's southern jewels, claimed by Japan but held by Russia since World War II, its volcanic peaks and hot springs a perfect throne for champions, symbolizing Sinnoh's fragile sovereignty. This real-world scaffolding doesn't just pretty up the map, it infuses the lore with tangible peril. The Diamond Clan's time rituals atop snowy bluffs mirror Ainu ceremonies on Hokkaido's frozen plateaus, where shamans invoked seasonal cycles amid avalanches. Pearl Clan's space chants by coastal shrines evoke Shinto rites along the Sea of Japan, waves crashing like Palkia's roar. The Celestica, those first wanderers, navigated these terrains with Pokémon as guides. Their old verses etched into cave walls scarred by real landslides. Even Team Galactic's machinations feel eerily plausible here. Cyrus's sterile vision, rejecting the land's messy vitality, blind to how Hokkaido's quakes and eruptions remind us creation is never static. Kamado's Galaxy team, plunked amid this strife, surveys not just Pokémon but topography, renaming Hisui Sinnoh to flatten its layered history into a god's single shadow. Yet the terrain resists erasure. Traverse Route 216's blizzards, and you're knee-deep in Hokkaido's winter fury, where visibility drops to whispers, forcing reliance on a Pokémon's glow, much as ancient migrants bonded deeper with beasts to survive. Cynthia herself, patrolling these echoes, carries maps marked with Celestica sigils, her Garchomp's claws etching paths through scree that real hikers curse today. These earthly contours pull Sinnoh's myths into sharp relief, making Arceus's egg feel less like fable and more like the island's geothermal heart, pulsing unseen. The distortion world's impossible flips, Hokkaido's active faults, where land warps and swallows trails overnight. Giratina's exile mirrors Sakhalin's isolation, a shadow realm brushing our own. But as these landscapes loop back on themselves, mountains birthing lakes that cradle regalia spirits guarding time's flow, you sense a rhythm deeper than stone or water, one that turns creation into endless return. That's where we'll pick up in Chapter 18, the eternal cycle, unravelling how Sinnoh's world doesn't just stand still, but spins in patterns that might trap us all if we forget to watch the turning. Those ancient Shinto echoes in the Lake Guardians linger like mist over verity, acuity, and valour, their forms mirroring the sacred sword, mirror, and jewels that birthed Japan's islands from chaos. But in Sinnoh, these spirits don't just guard relics, they embody the relentless pulse of creation and ruin, a rhythm etched into the land itself from the very first dawn. Arceus, the original one, burst from its cosmic egg into a void of nothingness, its body shimmering with 1,000 arms that wove the pillars of existence. First came Mount Coronet, that jagged heart chirp piercing the sky, forged as the axis where all worlds turn. From its flanks spread the wild expanse of Hisui, ancient cradle of Sinnoh, shaped by hands that knew no mercy or hesitation. Arceus breathed life into the adamant crystal, pulsing with the steel of time for Dialga, the lustrous globe, vast as oceans for Palkia's space, and the Grisius core, shadowed and raw for Giratina's antimatter fury. Yet even in this genesis, destruction shadowed birth. Giratina, warped by its own rebellion, was hurled into the distortion world, a tear in reality where gravity twists and light fractures like forgotten promises. The Lake Guardians rose next, Uxie from knowledge's depths, Mesprit from emotion's whirl, a Zelf from Willpower's forge. They plunged into waters that choked the breath from gods, emerging to sculpt continents and tame the titans. Only they hold the reins on Dialga and Palkia, ye whispering commands that bend eternity. Feel the weight of that lake-bottom silence, the pressure crushing stone to dust as they clawed upward, eyes gleaming with the fire to reshape worlds. Their gift ensured balance, but Sinnoh's tales whisper of how fragile that truce truly was. Long before clans or surveys, an unnamed hero wandered these peaks, gathering Arceus's 18 plates, fragments of divine judgment, each etched with types that command elements. This wanderer befriended 10 Pokémon, their bonds forged in trials that blurred beast and human. Blessed by almighty Sinnoh itself, they clashed at what would become Spear Pillar, the temple of Sinnoh against noble Pokémon avatars of the creator. Legends veil the blows exchanged, the roars echoing through mist-shrouded heights. But victory came, not conquest, but harmony. Those plates now scattered, hum with the memory of near annihilation, a first cycle spun from creation's edge. The Celestica people arrived as Hisui's first true children, their hearts synced to Pokémon songs, carried on the wind. They etched old verses into stone, reciting myths under auroras that danced like Arceus's tale. When the light of almighty Sinnoh faded from the nobles, most drifted away across seas, leaving echoes in Celestic town's weathered ruins. Descendants like Cogita, with her knowing gaze, and Volo, merchant of hidden hungers, carry that blood. Volo most dangerously, his veins burning for Arceus's throne. Then came the migrants, Diamond Clan hailing time's unyielding march under Dialga's gaze, Pearl Clan swearing spaces embrace through Palkia. Both claimed Celestica lineage, he twisting almighty Sinnoh into their patron's image, igniting feuds that scarred the land. Noble Pokémon, once radiant wardens, twisted into beasts of war, their roars splitting valleys. Ride Pokémon bore warriors into skirmishes where blizzards howled prophecies of doom. Volo's ambition cracked the cycle wide. Kin to Celestica kings, he sought not balance but dominion, allying with Giratina's spite. Shadows rent the sky above Coronet, a rift swallowing stars, enraging Dialga and Palkia into primal clash. Their war threatened to unmake Hisui, time fracturing into loops, space folding into voids, until the Surveyor's hand intervened. Yet Volo's failure planted seeds, the rift scar lingers, a warning etched in ether. Into this fray sailed the Galaxy team, outsiders charting stars amid clan blades. Their leader, Kamado, eyed the chaos with a surveyor's precision, but culture clashed like thunderheads. You, as the cause chosen, quelled the wars, mending bonds between human and Pokémon frayed by blood. At Spear Pillar's summit, Arceus descended, not in wrath, but revelation, the true almighty Sinnoh, beyond clan idols. Its awakening sealed Hisui's fate. No path home remained, stranding saviors in the land they saved. Kamado, in awe or erasure, rechristened it Sinnoh, honouring the god while burying layers of Celestica truth under a single name. Centuries rolled forward to the modern era, Twinleaf town's gentle hills hiding tempests. Professor Rowan hands you your first partner, Barry's rivalry sparking like flint. Badges gleam from Aubur's coal-veined depths, Eterna's fogged forests, Veilstone's steel spires. But beneath Badges lurks Team Galactic, Cyrus at its cold core, a man who saw creation's perfection as flaw. He hungered to remake the universe at Spear Pillar, summoning Dialga or Palkia to erase emotion's chaos. Lakes stirred, guardians unseen, but felt in the chill water's ripple. You climb, thwart the ritual, plunge into Distortion World's inverted madness, where gravity pulls sideways and memories warp. Giratina emerges, shadowed king, dragging Cyrus into eternal exile amid floating ruins. Victory crowns you champion after the Elite Four's trials, Cynthia's gaze holding ancient fires. Yet remnants stir, Commander Karen whispers in shadows, echoes of forgotten rifts. This wheel turns again and again. Arceus births worlds, titans clash in destruction's grip, heroes rise from lakes and pillars to mend. Diamond and Pearl feud as galactic schemes. Ikavolo's rift mirrors Cyrus's portal. Each era, creation frays at destruction's hand, only restrained by those who remember. Forget the myths, and Sinnoh dooms itself to spin unbroken. Canalave's archives gather dust if unread. Celestica's verses silenced by wind. Without Uxi's knowledge to guide, Mesprit's emotion to bind, Azelf's will to endure, clans reform as cults, seekers like Volo multiply. Hokkaido's own mists, inspiration for Sinnoh's wilds, those Farano fields blooming like Floroma, Tomamai's windmills churning at Valley Windworks, Yubari's mines birthing Oreburg, hide Shinto truths of cycles unending. Junichi Masuda named it for mysteries unsolved, a land where imperial regalia spirits warn. Creation demands vigilance, or ruin claims its due. Arceus endures, not as conqueror, but witness, its plates scattered like stars, waiting for hands worthy. The eternal cycle whispers through Coronet's peaks, lakes' glassy stairs, distortion's faint hum. Sinnoh's secrets aren't buried. They breathe, urging remembrance lest the wheel crush all beneath its turn. In this legacy, the original one's light flickers eternal, a beacon against the void's pull. What did you think of this journey? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this changed your perspective or taught you something new, consider subscribing for more mind-expanding content. And if you know someone who would find this as fascinating as you did, share it with them. These are the kind of conversations that matter.